Hello. I'm Casey.
And I'm Fallon.
And this is
Render the Darkness.
I got like one of them great, like hat lady buns or whatever.
Hat lady buns?
Cat lady buns.
Oh, cat. Okay, I like hat lady.
Cat lady buns.
Cat lady buns.
Yeah. Isn't that how they... Like, I feel like I should have two, like, crochet needles.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking out the top. Okay, alright, I'm done with my hair. Sorry. That's the first time I've seen it. I just threw it in a clippy this morning. Anyways. Alright. So, for today, we are in Connecticut.
Connecticut. And
we are going to be covering the urban legends and folklore out of Connecticut.
Excited.
Before we do that, we're gonna... No, she said. Stop this recording right now. She said no.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We don't listen to her. Fun fact. The fun fact of this episode is that the world's shortest war lasted only 38 minutes, and it was between Zanzibar and England. And don't ask me who won it, because I didn't go that far into the research.
Okay, because that was the...
I knew it was coming out of your mouth. You're looking at the screen. You know the information is not there.
I guess I need to start looking at your screen, because I really don't look at your screen hardly ever.
And see, I feel like a creepo if like you're doing your case and I'm just like staring at the camera. So I always try to follow along with you and read as you go. I try not to read ahead of you, so I still want to be shocked by what I'm hearing. Also, you lose your place a lot, so if I'm reading with you, it's a lot easier for me to go, you were right here.
I don't lose my place a lot. I say words incorrectly quite often, but I don't lose my place.
And then you lose your place.
Well, after that, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't. But I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we had this conversation before. I don't stare at the camera. I'm looking at you while you're talking.
Oh. Well, that just made me uncomfortable, so thanks for sharing that little tidbit of information. Maybe I'll just start doing that to you. Is that creepy?
Well,
do you think that's creepy for our viewers?
No, because I'm not doing it the way you are.
Oh.
I'm doing it casually and just, looking at you while you're talking.
You're cheating doing it because you have on a hat and glasses, so you could be looking at the damn floor and nobody would know. That's not fair. Also, you don't have giant buggy eyes like I do.
Okay, first off, calm down.
I will not.
You could always put a hat on and some glasses.
I hate hats. I hate glasses.
Well, then it's not my fault that you choose not to do it.
Excuses found.
Does this make you feel better if I just do this?
Exclusives. It's because you're so close. This is an exclusive look of Felon.
I'm just going to start doing this.
Shoulder to shoulder. Go ahead. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Ow. Alright, quit. Okay, back to what we're actually supposed to be doing, and that is the first one we're going to cover will be the legend of the melon heads.
I've heard of the melon heads.
Made me think of Drop Dead Fred.
Oh,
like when he smashes his head in the fridge and he...
Yep.
Okay, so the legend of the melon head seems to extend to several towns, but it's mostly reported in the towns, or at least on the outskirt of the towns, such as Shelton and Milford. But certainly not limited to just those two places. I don't even think it's limited to just Connecticut. Like, I think there's other states that believe that they also have their versions of melon heads.
Yeah.
But they're said to reside in areas that are heavily wooded and often near backroads. In fact, there's actually like a collaboration of roads that kind of connect one another, I think, that are specifically referred to as the Melonhead Roads because the set of roads are where most of the areas that the Melonheads have been spotted are. As far as who or what they are thought to be, it's said that they are small and mutant-like in their features with enormously large heads, hence their names.
Melonhead.
Depending on what version of the story you hear, some say that the Melonheads are the result of a fire that took place in 1960 in Fairfield County. The legend goes that out of all the staff and patients of the asylum located in the area that died in a fire, there was about 20 patients that were unaccounted for. It's important to note that this wasn't just any asylum. This was an asylum for the criminally insane. It's said that these patients were never found, but they're believed to have vanished into the thick woods.
Oh, so kind of like a wrong turn family.
Yeah, like
thing.
Yeah, kind of like a deliverance kind of thing or something.
Mm.
But there's different variations of the theory. There's some that say it's an asylum for the criminally insane. There's some that say it was a prison. There's some that say like different types of businesses. But it seems like the asylum theory is the most often told version. So that's the one I went with. There's also the theory of them being the result of inbreeding. And another theory is that they are the descendants of a family who was accused of witchcraft back in the colonial era. But either way, the idea that they survived by consuming small animals and preying on humans seems to be the same in all of the theories.
Ooh.
Which is why this legend is often told as a warning to teenagers and wanderers to stay clear of the backcountry roads and the thick woods.
That's pretty cute.
And I even made a little note in here while I was writing about it that says, makes me think of Drop Dead Fred.
I'm glad you said that before you got into the gritty part of it. So I would have been like, what?
Yeah. Well, that's really the only reason why I wanted to do them first is because as soon as I read Melonheads, I was like, Drop Dead Fred. And then I got into the nitty gritty of what they were, and I was like, not at all Drop Dead Fred, but visually maybe. But he was fun. They don't seem fun.
No. They
seem scurry. Scurry. Okay, so the next legend we're going to get into is the Glastonbury Gloacus. I think I said that right. Gloacus.
Okay.
This curious creature first became known in 1939, and it is said to possess terrifying and loud screams.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. People described it to look much like a dog, cat, bear hybrid.
Man, bear, pig.
There you go. Close. Yeah. Now say that quick with dog, cat, bear.
Dog, cat, bear.
Initially, the screams were thought to be that of maybe a mountain lion that I actually had read. There was one that had escaped from a zoo like a couple towns away.
Okay.
Pretty close to the time that the noises started. So that was why their initial thought was maybe a mountain lion or a bobcat in the area. So this kind of triggered like a huge hunting rage in the town. Group after group began going out and searching, and shortly after, it was reported that a local's goat went missing. Assumptions were that it must have been the mysterious creature who is now wreaking havoc on livestock and animals based on the death of one goat. So the search intensified, but other than a few people staging a photo to claim that they had captured it, which they did later admit that the photos were staged. Okay. Other than that, no one ever captured it, causing people to believe that the creature must have gone into hiding out of fear from the intense hunting groups. There weren't any more signs of the creature until the 50s. To this day, no one has ever captured anything that they feel could be Galactus related, but the story and the belief is still very much alive, still very much exists, and is still very much told. So
scary.
The locals in that town very much believe that it still lurks about. The next thing we're going to talk about is the Moodus noises. I'm just going to tell you ahead of time, I'm going to pronounce a couple of words wrong on this one, but I'm going to do my best.
Okay, I gotta say it. Moodus noises. I had to say it like that, sorry. I don't know why.
It's okay. Moodus noises. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so for the Moodus noises, we're going to travel to Moodus, Connecticut.
All right.
More specifically, the area of Mount Tom and Cave Hill. The name Moodus is actually derived from the name that the Native Americans who originally inhabited the area gave it. I'm going to try my best here. Machit Mudis, which roughly means bad noise or place of bad noise. They believed that the sounds they would hear coming from the land, which was like rumbling and trees falling, gunshots, thunder when it wasn't storming, and angry growls. They believed these noises to be that of a god by the name of Hobomoko.
Hobomoko?
Hobomoko.
Wow, that's a name.
That's a real god, actually. I looked it up.
Okay.
I did look that up. It is a real god. They believed he resided underground, more specifically underneath Mount Tom.
Okay.
I read that the natives believed that they could calm the god through sacrifice. They described the god as angry and restless, and they struggled to figure out what sacrifices would calm him. So you can only imagine what all took place at the time in efforts to do this.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it, but...
Yeah, we're not going to get into it.
Yeah.
As the years went on and different types of settlers moved in, the theories of explanation for the noises would change. For example, some of the more religious folks believed that the noises were God himself.
Okay.
However, sometime in the late 70s, early 80s, scientists would later theorize that the noises were actually caused from small and at some point in time through the years, not so small, shallow earthquakes that were happening underneath Mount Tom and Cave Hill. But not everyone believed that explanation.
Yeah.
The noises can still be heard to this day, not as aggressively or loud as they once could be, but they're still there. And the best way to hear them is by being closer to Cave Hill these days, which I read is actually now owned by Cave Hill Resorts.
Oh, wow.
So that'd be a cool experience, I think.
Yeah.
If you could go stay in the resort and then get to hear the Mudis noises.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. If any of you guys have ever done that and you've ever heard them, if you want to chit chat and tell us what those noises sounded like and how you felt and all that fun stuff, we would love to hear about it. Next, we're going to talk about Hannah Cranna.
Hannah Cranna.
We are going to travel on over to Monroe, Connecticut, sometime in the 1800s. We're going to talk about Hannah Cranna Hovey, who was married to Captain Joseph Hovey. After Captain Joseph Hovey died in what was viewed as a very mysterious way, he was found at the bottom of a cliff. So for that time, and for him being a captain, that was indeed pretty mysterious, to say the least.
Yeah.
After he was found, the rumors quickly began to spread through town that Hannah was a witch. The townspeople believed that Hannah had put a spell on her husband. And after Joseph's death, Hannah became an extreme recluse, never leaving her property unless it was to demand goods and services from other people in the town. She depended solely on the company of her pet chicken, Boreas.
Good chicken, Boreas. That's cool.
So several things played against Hannah here in regards to her chicken. Keeping in mind that they already rumored she was a witch, and couple that with the fact that not only did she have a pet chicken, which at that time, they weren't traditionally considered pets.
Yeah.
That wasn't a common thing for somebody to do.
We'd be in trouble on that day.
Yeah. But there was also the chicken's name itself, Boreas. This is the name of a mythological pagan god who was known for how powerful he was. He was also the god of winter and north wind.
Okay.
Reminder, this was the 18th century, so you can only imagine what the townspeople, especially the Christians, were thinking about somebody not only having a pet chicken, but then naming that pet chicken after a pagan god.
Yeah.
Not only was she displaying witch behavior in the eyes of the town folk, but she also had what they called a familiar. Anyone who knows anything about witches probably knows what a familiar is, but let me explain what the common folk at that time thought a familiar was. They thought they were demons disguised as different types of animals sent here to aid their witches, i.e. chickens, Boreas. So many people thought that he was actually her familiar, not her pet.
Okay, that makes sense.
We'll get more into the beliefs of all that whenever I cover the Connecticut witch trials, which I ironically actually had already started working on before I ever even decided to do the cryptids and legends of Connecticut. She can verify.
Yes.
So just know, I don't know when that case is going to come out, but I am going to finish that case, and eventually I will cover that. Another fact about Boreas the chicken, from what I read, he was unusually beautiful. Like, his colors were extremely rare. Unfortunately for Hannah, that only increased the idea of her being a witch.
I could see that, yeah.
Another rare trait Boreas had was that he didn't crow at the same time all the other roosters were known to crow. He crowed at midnight. You know, the witching hour. Or at least what was thought back then to be the witching hour. Now I think it's considered between 12 and 3. But back then, it was 12. Why, you got a weird look on your face?
I was just trying to visualize a chicken or a rooster crowing at midnight.
I know, it's strange, right? That is a pretty strange trait. I'm not gonna lie. That's a pretty unique trait for a rooster.
I'm just trying to figure out why one would crow at that hour.
It's an unusual trait. Yeah. I will give them that. That is an unusual one.
Maybe he was confused.
I don't know why that was when he crowed, but according to literally everything I read, that's when he crowed.
Okay.
So then there was all of his weird traits and features and all that stuff attached to him, but then there was Hannah's actions themselves. She was said to be quite intimidating, and she was described as rude and aggressive, especially when people didn't bend to her will. She was also prone to verbally cast curses on those that defied her.
Oh, well, that...
Yeah. One story speaks of a time she cursed a man for fishing on her property and refused to leave. And the story goes, after she cursed him, he never caught another fish again for the rest of his life.
Oh, no.
There's several other stories where Hannah either cursed someone and her curse worked, or she cursed another. There was a lot of stories attached to the things that she would say and how she would say them. And then whatever she said actually coming to play. Like, there was another story about a woman that had baked a pie that Hannah wanted, and she offered her a pie, but it wasn't the pie that Hannah wanted, and so Hannah was like, "You'll never bake another good pie again." And then supposedly the woman never baked another good pie again.
Oh, that'd make me sad.
So, stuff like that. But it also reportedly sometimes worked the opposite way. Like, someone would ask her to use her powers to help, and sometimes she would.
Oh, that's nice.
Like, there was a time during an extreme drought that Hannah was asked to use her magic to end the drought, as to which she replied, quote, "By sundown on the morrow, your wish shall be granted," end quote. I don't know if it was coincidence, or maybe she did possess some kind of magical something, but it did, in fact, pour rain upon the morrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Go her.
So, all these things, though, really just intensified that.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, because she very much played into the whole witch thing in some ways. Either that or she was just kind of like a different type of spirit than anything they had ever seen before. So, I didn't know. Sorry, I'm going to keep going in and out of the frame. I got a thing playing over here. And it keeps cutting out. I'm going to pass this over here. Anyway, sorry, I apologize for that. Another bizarre thing reported was the night that Boreas passed away. It said that she held a ritualistic funeral for her chicken, or familiar, according to the locals. They claim she buried him at night, and it's believed she had candles lit and did other things and was saying other things that were viewed as strange at the time, especially for a chicken. And it said that she kind of predicted her own death after the death of Boreas by saying, quote, "Now I will soon depart this life," end quote.
Oh.
It's been recorded that one night, close to her approaching her death, not long after Boreas died, a neighbor went to check on Hannah, and when she spoke to him, she gave him very specific instructions for her funeral. See, Hannah knew what the townspeople thought of her, and she knew that if she didn't specify what she wanted, she likely wouldn't receive any kind of a respectable burial.
Yeah.
She told him she wanted to be buried after sundown. She wanted several to many pallbearers, and she wanted her casket to be carried by hand. She followed that by telling the neighbor that if her wishes were not followed, a curse would fall upon him.
Uh-oh.
Now, it's not known exactly how long after this Hannah passed. It's either December or January. It was very, very cold and snowy and, very cold. Anyway, she was found in front of her doorway, deceased. Some reports say she was found the following day, and others say that it might have been a few weeks later.
Ooh.
There's not really a specific or any kind of recording about that, and there's absolutely zero record on who actually found her. So I don't know that either. But the pallbearers, in order to follow her wishes, had to carry her casket almost 5 miles in the snow to Gregory Four Corners, where she was to be buried. Or at least that's what they would have had to do if they had respected Hannah's last wishes.
No. I see this going badly.
Legend has it that they decided it was too treacherous a journey to carry her, so instead they opted to put her casket on a sled. As you can guess, the coffin slid off the sled, and if what I read was correct, I read it actually slid all the way back down to her front door. Now, another important thing to add here is that it was generally believed at the time that dropping or not carrying the coffin of the deceased above your shoulder or disrupting the casket in any way would incite evil spirits. So they were already taking a gamble, whether she was a witch or not.
Yeah.
Add that to the belief of Hannah's final known words, and it's not good. Not good.
The poor man.
Yeah. The story goes that after the coffin fell off the sled, they simply put it back on, but this time they chained it down to the sled, and a few of them also sat on it.
Oh, that's
to try to weigh it down.
That's lovely.
Yeah, respectful.
Yeah.
According to legend, just as they were about to approach the final stopping place, the coffin began to shake violently, and it threw the people sat on top of it off. Terrified, they decided it would be best to go ahead and carry the coffin the rest of the way.
Oh, now they're going to try to...
Yeah, like now that they're at the...
Yeah, I was going to say, it's probably not going to matter at this point. I mean...
So after laying Hannah to rest and walking back towards town, the men realized that Hannah's house was completely on fire.
Oh.
Terrified already, no one made any efforts to put the fire out, and her house burned to the ground.
Oh, that's sad.
I think maybe somebody set it on fire because, they thought she was a witch.
Oh.
So that's my guess. I don't know that. There's no records that say that. That's just me strictly making an assumption.
I think it was the curse. It started.
But why would it burn down her house and not the neighbor's house?
Because that's where they started to mess up.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know.
So the legend of Hannah Crane is still very much alive to this day. Hannah Crana is still very much alive to this day, especially near her gravesite and her old homestead. One legend claims that if you drive down the road heading towards Gregory Four Corners, where Hannah is buried after midnight, once you get around the corner of Spring Hill Road, where her coffin started violently shaking the night they were burying her, you'll lose control of your car and go flying up an embankment and head straight into Hannah's tombstone.
Ooh.
There's also been countless reports of people seeing Hannah's spirit or what they believe to be Hannah's spirit in the woods area around her gravesite and in the area of her house. Reports claim she's often seen appearing as though she's begging for something. Her arms are usually out as if she's wanting to get something or wanting you to give her something. And she's also been seen in windows. There's also a superstition surrounding her actual gravesite where the locals believe that if you go near her grave, if you don't leave some kind of offering like a coin or a token or something, you'll be cursed. So if you go to her grave to this day, you'll actually see like coins and stuff like little offerings placed on top of and around.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's the story of Hannah Cranna. Now we're going to move on to the faceless people. We're actually going to stay in Monroe for this one.
Okay.
The story goes that in the woods exists an old barn, known to the locals as the House of the Faceless People. The barn has supposedly been long abandoned and boarded up, and there's no clear path or road to be able to get to the old barn, but that doesn't mean there's no one in the barn. It's said that if someone is hiking through these woods and stumble upon the area this barn is in, they would quickly be chased away by the caretaker. It's believed there's a small group of otherworldly creatures, or some think they're actually deformed humans, living in the barn, and they can only come out at night.
Okay.
According to legend, they had no facial features at all other than a mouth. Some sources say they had also like very pale lips, and other sources say they have no lips at all. They're also said to have bony hands that are constantly reaching and grabbing for things because they rely heavily on feel since they have no eyes. It made me think of Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And I was also thinking, ew. That's just ew.
There's been several reports that one or more of these mysterious beings have successfully snuck out without the caretaker's knowledge and made their way to the road, occasionally accidentally running into the road, startling anyone who happened to be driving by.
Okay.
It's said that the faceless people and their caretaker still remain in the barn to this day, still very much protected by the caretaker, and it's nearly impossible to get anywhere near the barn because of the caretaker.
Huh. It kind of makes me want to go test that out.
I don't know if anybody has. Has anybody gone to the woods to try to find this barn? Has anybody been chased off by the caretaker? Has anybody got any personal experiences with this area they'd like to share with us? Because we would love to hear it.
Yeah, it'd be pretty
awesome.
Interesting to test.
That would be dope.
I wonder what the caretaker looks like.
I read he's just an old man.
Oh.
He's just like a person. From what I read,
like an actual,
looks
real?
like a person.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I still want to do that.
That'd be rad. But that was my case on some of the most popular urban legends out of Connecticut, but not even close to all of them. There are so many others, such as the Little People of Middlebury, the Leather Man, the Abandoned Dudleytown, the Black Dog of Hanging Hills, Bigfoot, the White Lady of Union Cemetery.
Always a white lady.
And I'm sure there are many others that I did not get to. I just went on the ones that seemed the most interesting to me.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. Those are definitely pretty cool.
But Connecticut as a whole, very interesting state. This was a fun case to do. So thanks, Connecticut, for all your folklores and legends and being so interesting.
Yeah, thank you for the case. And the little chicken, I forget, what was his name again?
Boreas. Yeah. And if I'm saying that wrong, feel free to comment and let me know I'm saying that wrong.
Well, if you're saying it wrong, I'm saying it wrong a lot.
Well, if you're saying it wrong, it's because you're saying it how I'm saying it. So it still would be my fault, technically. But anyways, that's my Connecticut case. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you had fun.
I did. I thought it was pretty cool.
Anybody have a story they want to share? Send it our way. We'd love to hear it. George, was that you? George, was that you? I just imagine an old lady saying that. Did the bun and did that boost it? Anyway, thank you guys so much for your time. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. We hope you guys come back and join us for our next case.
Yeah.
We're going to keep on rolling forward. Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's it. We are Render the Darkness.
You look like you're so enthused. You're like,
I was watching my neck. I was like, I'm detached. Where'd I go? Seriously, look. Looks like I detached for a second. All right, anyway. See? Where'd it go? Now you have no neck. This is what you'd look like if you had no neck. See what you did?
Yeah.
Some of us can lose their necks a little more naturally than others. Anyways, bye.
Bye.